Okay, guys, let's go to the next article. Home price growth is back at pre-pandemic levels. Here's what that means for buyers and sellers from CNBC. U.S. home prices increased 0.6% from a month before in February, in line with the 0.6% average monthly gain in the roughly 8 years leading up to the pandemic, according to a new Redfin analysis. So here's my general consensus first. The article is saying it's returned to the trend we saw pre-pandemic. Here's the problem. It ramped up in 2020 and 2021 with a very fast and quick moving home price appreciation. Yeah. So saying that it's now back to trend pre-pandemic, but skipping over the fact that it took like this massive level up, that I think is actually the problem.
Big time. I mean, hey, crazy news, right? Like, come on, we already knew that. Like, and this is a nationwide thing, right?
Yes.
This is not here locally. If we're talking about San Diego, this is not unexpected for us. It's like
San Diego's moving the needle. That's the problem. Is San Diego has more price appreciation than national average by like a lot. That's one of it. And I'm not saying San Diego is like nudging it in that direction, but it's holding the line in that direction. Even if there's places that are having depreciation, it's being offset by the West Coast places that are having appreciation. Yeah. So there's that issue. You know, regardless of mortgage rates being higher now than they were in 2020 and 2021 and even 2022 for the first half of the year, people have FOMO. Yeah, the fear of missing out, and they're like, I'm in. Yeah. You know, and we talked about this on several short shows before where it's like, okay, so the price of the home is $1 million. At what point do you enter the market? When it's 10% off, 15%, 20%? Because someone's going to jump in at 10% and someone's going to be waiting for 20 and they're probably never going to get it.
Yeah.
So I think FOMO is doing a lot of this. I think that like behavioral subset is leaking into the data and causing this outcome.
Yeah. I think the numbers coming out that, you know, it's not, prices aren't digressing and you're not going to see that huge drop. So it's like those that were like on the line to see any drop are like, now I got to make a move or I'm really just going to have to stay here.
I mean, again, it comes back to simple economic supply and demand.
Yeah,
right?
It is, but it's yes, of course. There's always supply and demand with the subset of like affordability and life situation, that kind of thing. Because one of the things they're citing in this article is that sellers are dissatisfied with offers that they're getting, and then buyers are disappointed with rising prices and rising mortgage rates. Great, everyone's unhappy.
Andy,
thank you for joining us. See you next month.
When it said sellers are dissatisfied, I'm like, with what? Getting top dollar? This is in history. We've never seen as much equity as we see now, and baby boomers are holding the majority of this.
Yep. It makes me wonder where are the sellers unhappy?
Sorry, I'm Brian. You bought your house for $300,000 and you're dissatisfied. You're going to sell it for $1 million?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're so.
I wanted $1.1 million.
I don't think those are the people we're talking about. But my question is, where is this happening? Because I know here we don't find dissatisfied sellers.
No, I think where it becomes dissatisfying is, let's say you bought your house for $500,000 and now you're selling it for at least 1.2, right? You have $700,000, but that similar home that you're selling is around that same price range
1.2.
or maybe a little higher, right?
Yeah.
And so now if you already paid down your mortgage and you're owing like $2 and you refinance and your payment's like $2,500, $3,000, well, now I'm going to put $700,000 into that 1.2 finance file, your payment's still higher.
Yeah,
right.
So does it make sense, right? Unless I really have to move. So a lot of people, I think that's why they're holding back, hey, and maybe that's what I think maybe may be dissatisfying because the numbers aren't making sense.
Well, it's
they know they need a move, but the next move isn't financially like, what? I'm going to pay more. I paid off my house. My house is damn sold and I have to pay more.
You're selling at market rate. You're buying at market rate. You're selling and you had a 2.25% or a 3%, and now you're buying at 6.5% or 7% or whatever.
The good thing about it,
that part.
Yeah, the good thing about that and going through all this is we're also seeing sellers kind of being a little more like understanding. Well, these are the new norm, right? It's like kind of like going to that McDonald's. They're paying $20 an hour now.
I thought we were going to TGI Fridays.
No, on TGI Fridays, we're going to pay more for that hamburger.
Dude,
that's the new norm.
Expensive,
right? I think that's now we see these rates. We see how it is. It's a new norm. I'm just gonna put my house on the market because we have seen inventory grow this time around.
Yeah.
It's actually like 25% more than it was last year at the same time.
And to follow up on that, they said that the rate lock in effect is loosening up. So that golden handcuffs are now, being lifted by some, which I think, progressing into the year is going to happen a lot more with rates coming down, more inventory coming into the market. People are going to now be like, hey, well, now this is the move. Even though it doesn't make 100% sense, their situation is pushing them to be like, hey, I got to move. My house needs to be bigger. I need bigger space, whatever it might be. They just want to cash out.
Or I need that money because I need to downsize because I need to pay debt, right? Like we still have the highest consumer debt there is ever recorded.
It's ridiculous.
Right? We saw consumer spending today was actually higher than expected.
Yeah.
It was at 0.8% versus 0.5%.
And it will continue
People are
to be
still
that way.
spending money at TGI Fridays.
It will continue to be that way as long
Crazy.
as wholesale prices are higher,
Yeah.
then consumer prices are higher, and then consumer spending is higher. It's all a trickle effect.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, where I'm going with that, I get excited here. I had too much coffee. But where I'm going
What
with
did you
that,
have? I want some of this.
yeah, where I'm going with that is, the people are figuring out I might as well just sell, pay off my debt because it makes more sense. I'll probably, if I'm paying $2,000-$3,000 worth of debt, and then I have a house payment of $3,000, if I consolidate that and sell and move over here, my debt will probably be like $4,500.
And that's a lot of the conversations that are coming
So
up.
I think that's a lot of stuff people are also downsizing, or even saying, hey, I'm just going to move out of state because then I don't have to pay state tax in Texas or Florida. So I just put a little more money back in my pocket.
Yeah.
We're also seeing a lot of that.
Yeah. People making
So the handcuffs are coming off.
constructive moves.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and I think but to your point about inventory being higher, I think that is part of what you're talking about. The lock-in effect is thawing out a little bit, loosening. You do see seasonal adjustments with inventory happening,
Yeah.
and then there's also life situations, whether it's death or divorce or debt or new job and you got to move or whatever. And then but one of the things it said in the article is it said, quote, "It's like a small recovery from a rock bottom." I'm like, yeah, the rock bottom was a big bottom and real low. So look, am I saying that we should be shouting from the top of the mountains shouting from the mountaintops? Everything's better. No. It's not better. It's better than it was, and it's kind of still just okay.
That's similar to how I got trolled for posting one time, rates are at 7.03, and then the next day, rates are at 7.99. There he's like, oh, wow, everybody rushed the market. I got called out.
Someone texted me the other day. They're like, hey, so how are you feeling about housing in San Diego? I was like, I'm feeling really okay.
Yeah.
Super okay. So some buyers who had put off listing their homes are coming to terms with higher mortgage rates because they feel they can no longer postpone their moves. And that lock-in effect that Brian was talking about. The Fed is going to do rate cuts at some point because they're already kind of telegraphing it. They're projecting it. They're saying they're going to.
What's your guys' guess? June? July?
Maybe
August?
Maybe June.
Yeah.
Maybe June. I thought April. I had said it on. Look, I was wrong. I was wrong on air. I said it's going to be in April, and they didn't start in April.
You know what's funny?
So
it's last year. Everybody you heard everybody YouTube and all this. Oh, there's going to be 8 rate cuts.
Yeah, like 5, 6, 8. No,
And
there's
then
no way. Like every meeting. Like, no.
Like seriously, it was like 8 and then 6.
That would cause an even bigger problem.
By the hype Southern
And
News.
right now they're saying 3. And I honestly, with consumer spending the way it is, I'm going to go for 2.
Maybe 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going for 2.
I mean, it sucks because the functionality of that is like we have to keep the clamp down on high rates with the Fed in order to slow the spending. But again, we're talking about commissions in the prior segment of the show. When you bake in the cost of operations and margin and all that, and it just always gets passed on.
Yeah.
And so when things are always get passed on, but it's for things I still have to buy to supply my home and feed my kids and buy fuel for my car and all that stuff. Like I actually have to pay those things. I can choose not to pay my electric bill, but then I'm going to be without electricity.
Yeah.
I can forego paying my gas bill, but then I'm not going to have gas.
I'm going to see a big orange freaking
like, hey, here's
plug right there.
Hey,
here's
you guys got solar.
Here's a monthly budget hack for you guys. Go spend $30 on an extension cord and steal your neighbor's
There you go.
Unethical ways
Is
to
that
make
what we're
money.
saying? Yeah, great.
Follow me for
Here comes the channel ban.
Yeah.